Over the years, I've had the privilege of driving a handful of 993 generation Porsche 911s. That included a PSS-10 equipped Carrera 4 cab, a Carrera coupe with medium spicy mods, a bone stock Turbo S, as well as a GT2 Tribute built from a turbo. Today, I'm driving a 911 Carrera 4S from 1996 that's undergone a severe weight reduction program and also has high-end motion control suspension coilovers.
If you're a Porsche enthusiast like I am, I invite you to join our community. Just head over to pca.org and get ready to take your ownership experience to the next level. We'd appreciate it if you give us a like, comment, and subscribe. We've got lots of Porsche content coming your way. Now back to the video.
The owner of this car found it in the mart on pca.org. It had been listed by somebody in New York who had daily driven it for about 144,000 miles. The license plate said Snowbliz, so you get the picture. It had some rusty spots, but it was well maintained. And this sort of car screams project. Before we move on, it would be good to remember that the 993 generation was the last air-cooled 911 that Porsche made, and as such, it was the best air-cooled 911 in many ways. It had the traditional McPherson front strut suspension, but it had a new multi-link design at the rear. And like the 964, it also had coilovers. The all-wheel drive system is simpler than the one on the 964 Carrera 4, and it was tuned for more performance driving. The current owner adopted this tired car and indeed made it his project. So the first thing on the list was to repair the rusty spots and also give it a repaint in maritime blue, which I think is a clear upgrade from the original Arena Red. After the repaint, the car was covered in Ceramic Pro PPF. During the repaint and the rust repair, the owner also decided to get rid of the sunroof, which removes weight from the top of the car, which is where you want it least. Other things on the outside of the car that have been removed in the name of saving weight are the rear wiper, the fog lights, and the headlight washers. Walk to the front and you'll see a Turbo S front lip. The owner really embraced the lightweight ethos in this car. First, you can see the RS-style door cards with these RS-style pull straps to open the door, but also the big bulky knee pad has been deleted, the ashtray has been deleted, the radio and the radio wiring has been deleted. It has these nice RS-style bucket seats, and of course, the carpet is lightweight and there's less sound deadening. All in, this car has had its weight reduced from the factory quoted 3,197 pounds to about a bit over 2,800 pounds. So roughly 300 pounds have been removed from this car. I expect that the weight reduction program that this car has endured is going to make it drive quicker, it'll feel quicker, and rawer than a fully loaded Carrera 4S. The 3.6 liter flat 6 in this Carrera 4S is stock, but it does have the optional motor sound package, which is you can see with this intake right here, and it increases the intake noise of the engine. The owner also welded a crossover pipe between the inlet and outlet ports of the mufflers, which enhances the exhaust note. Astute viewers will also notice that the heater fan is gone and replaced by this RS tube, which pipes hot air to the HVAC system using the engine fan. And that 282 horsepower is put to the ground with a 6-speed manual transmission. After such a weight reduction program, it would be prudent to address the suspension. After all, the stock suspension was designed for a 3,200-pound car. So the natural thing to do would be to fit aftermarket coilover suspension. In this case, the owner picked motion control, rebound adjustable, one-way non-remote coilovers, and set the ride height to RS height plus 10 millimeters. After walking around this 993 And taking it all in, I can't help but think about how much quicker it will be due to the weight reduction, but also how much rawer it will feel with less mass between my inputs and the car's reactions. So it's time to get behind the wheel, take it for a drive, and give you my impressions. All right, 1996 Carrera 4S. Love that sound when you close the door. It's funny, without the door cards, I have to find a new place to put my receiver. Yeah, it's funny, I started this review just like I would any other, and you find the limitations of an RS style lightweight car. You lose some storage space and you have to figure things out a little bit. So pardon my t-shirt being here, but what I want to do is make sure that this doesn't go anywhere and that the antenna remains fairly uncovered. And I think that's going to do it pretty well right there. And here we go. So to start up a 993, it's kind of funny. There's a interesting way to do it. I'm not going to say it here on the camera, but see if I get it right here. Oh, nope, didn't do that yet. I think I got it though this time. Yep, there we go. So yeah, special procedure to start up a 993. I drove this car here, so I already have a few impressions I'd like to share. And it's just how different cars can be, even from the same model line. Last time I drove 993s, I don't remember the clutch engaging right off the ground. It's possible, but here, if I step off even, it feels like 2 millimeters, the car will start moving forward. So there was an adjustment period for that. Reverse is all the way over and to the left and up, past the detent. And this 6-speed manual is a G50 transmission, so a development of the one that came in the previous 964. Yeah, the shifting in this definitely happens really low and deep into the pedal. I love the suspension on this somewhat bumpy road. Refinement is how I think of the Porsche 993. It's a very refined car, even stock. But as with all great suspensions, this one is lower, stiffer, yet I want to say it feels better than all the other 993s I've driven. So right now, third gear. The owner tells me third gear is a bit long. Very positive engagement with this transmission, and once you figure out on this car that the clutch pedal engages really low down, it's easy to use. You know, you just keep in mind when you're letting go of your foot release and slotting it into gear. All right, since it looks like for a portion of this road we're going to have a little bit of this construction, I definitely have to stay under the speed limit and definitely not over. So just driving around, this is a little bit over 2,800 pounds, which is, I'll call it 300 to 350 pounds lighter than a stock Carrera 4S. And this car feels fairly lightweight, the way it just drives and handles bumps. The hydraulic power steering in this car, it really has a lot of feel, and you can drive it with your fingertips if you would like, especially through these light curves. But it has a nice weight to it, and there doesn't seem to be really a dead spot anywhere on this steering rack. Yeah, these RS seats, really, really tight, which for me is perfect, but these seats are not going to be for all sizes, that's for sure. And despite the crossover pipe for the exhaust mufflers, it's a very civilized sound when you're just keeping it at constant throttle. I also don't really get the motor sound package coming in yet. Now here's a slow corner. I'll go into it a little bit faster. The brakes have that classic 911 feel. And there's that 282 horsepower. Yeah, that feels like that. Really easy to do a heel toe. The brakes on the 911, and actually the pedals in general, they're floor hinged. So they're a little bit awkward to get used to if you haven't driven a car with floor hinged pedals like a 911. But once you're used to them, they feel really natural. Oh, I love that sound. Whatever hack this is with that crossover pipe welded in, it is not too loud. It gives just the right amount of noise at low RPM, but doesn't seem to scream and wake up the neighbors when you're really pounding it out. So third gear, this 3.6 liter has a good amount of torque. All right, on the brakes for the heel toe, I press on the brakes and they lower as I'm braking to just the right level to execute a heel and toe, and that's very nice. So remember, this is a Carrera 4S, so on the throttle, the front end is going to try and pull me around the corner along with the rear end pushing. I'm sure if I tried, there could be some lift throttle oversteer on this car, but you're not going to be getting that on the throttle like you might in a rear-wheel drive 911. It's also worth noting that the 993 and its very sophisticated suspension, that multi-link keeps the camber where it needs to be to maintain grip. Yeah, this is a nice car. It doesn't have that frenetic edge that a GT car might have, or a higher strung flat six. It has its stock roots because it really is a stock motor, except for that motor sound package intake and those crossover pipes, that crossover pipe. Yeah. Didn't take the best line through there, but that's okay. This is my first time driving the road, so I am taking it easy just because I don't know exactly what is coming up. But yeah, in San Diego County, and we got some great roads out here, that's for sure. When it comes to shifting and downshifting like that, I'm actually appreciating how low to the ground, low to the floor the clutch pedal engages, because that means that I'm on and off the clutch exactly when I need to be. I don't have to wait for that travel to the top to for the clutch to engage. It's very instantaneous. I'm going to turn around here actually. I went into the detent for reverse actually. Fortunately, it's up and to the left, so that's something to keep in mind with this, is you'll have to maybe adjust your shifting style if you're one that kind of pushes to the left a little bit when you're shifting in a second. It's a really nice car. It has a nice flow to it, really nice weights on the inputs. On the brakes, heel toe was a pretty good one. Beautiful road here. Oh yeah, I love the grip. All-wheel drive grip and rear engine, baby. Yeah, a lot of torque in third even. I'm gonna slow it down here. I'm catching up to that guy in front of me. It's a very docile, easy car to drive, actually. And it feels, it's not a hard edge sort of car. It's stiff and compliant, but it's not a sharp edge car. It doesn't seem to have an edge. And I like that for a car that you might use for cruising around on a back road like this. It doesn't punish you with the suspension, and that's thanks to those motion controls. In fact, if it weren't for the lack of storage in this car, this rides better than my daily driver, yet I know the suspension is better. It's also worth noting that the anti-roll bars on this 993 are the MO30 anti-roll bars. So it's the optional sport anti-roll bars paired with these motion controls. But yeah, it's not a car that feels like it's had all of its rubber replaced by spherical bushings. It still has that air of civility that can be lost all too easily when you're chasing after performance and precision. And this car, while precise, as I said, it's got sort of a round edge to it, if I can call it such a thing. Love the sound of that flat six. It roars more than screams, that's for sure. Red line is just under 7,000 RPM. I'm gonna try a full throttle second to third. Yeah, nice and easy. It's a joy to use this transmission, actually. Just the amount of effort to go into and out of gear. And it's not notchy, it just sort of slides right in. Just enough notch to feel that you're into the gear. And here we are back into the roadwork. So I will start to wrap up the driving portion of this review. I will say, not having the knee pad right here really opens up the interior in a way that maintains a very stock look. The only thing that you can sort of notice here without this knee pad is you can see some of the things under the dash that I'm guessing is part of the HVAC system or something. I'll also have to say this car now has 147,000, almost 148,000 miles on it. And the owner got this car with 144,000 miles. It feels basically brand new, as it should, having had the rust repaired, a repaint, and new suspension fitted. It doesn't feel like a tired car anymore. All right, so what do I think about this RS style lightweight 993 Carrera 4S? I really enjoyed this car, and I really appreciate what the owner's done to make this into a weekend warrior. Something to take out onto a back road, but probably not to do a really long road trip in. Now, this is my kind of car. I would probably do something just like it if I had a 993, and then it would be used as an autocross car. Maybe even a track car, who knows? But setting aside what I would do with the car and sort of looking at it compared to what I was expecting with the mods, and the light weighting, I should say, is this. I expected a raw feeling car to drive that had a sharper throttle, even though I had no reason to think that with a basically stock flat six. What I got instead was a car that undoubtedly is a bit faster, is a bit rawer, and it comes together to make a package that's noticeably better than a stock 993 Carrera 4S if you're looking for a more sporting ride, but it doesn't edge into the territory of hardcore sports car. And when I was on the drive, considering how nice and compliant the suspension is, despite being lowered and with stiffer springs and stiffer anti-roll bars, I love cars that are set up in an RS style. But I think it just speaks to how much I like how this car feels, that I would want to drive it more than what the storage space and its practicality allows. As it is with all sorts of different Porsches and cars, this one is very unique to the owner. And just like any unstock car, you gotta build it to what you want. 2 thumbs up for this, but really wish I had an armrest and maybe a place to put something in a glove box. All right, until next time.